Hello everyone, and welcome to Simply Recollective. I'm Valerie, and here you'll find simple, creative tutorials to help you craft, design, and create things with ease. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Let's begin. Pause and screenshot this if you need to, but we're going to need I used a Cricut cutaway card blank, but you could use any medium or heavy cardstock, a decorative paper napkin, some Glad regular cling wrap, parchment paper or a protective layer. I use the Cricut EasyPress Mini on medium, but you can use another controlled heat source, a heat-resistant work surface, paper trimmer, scissors, or a craft knife, and embellishments for finishing the card. Now, please take note. Here's an important safety notice. This is an experimental crafting technique, so you need to work in a well-ventilated area, protect your work surface, and test the materials on a scrap piece first. Always place parchment paper or Teflon sheet, a protective layer between the project and the heat source. Never apply the heat directly to exposed cling wrap, and never leave the heat tool unattended.
Today, I'm testing a surprisingly simple way to apply a decorative paper napkin to cardstock using ordinary cling wrap instead of a wet glue. I first tested this technique on wood ornaments, but then I started wondering whether it would work on cardstock without warping it, making it soggy, or leaving all those little wrinkles that glue sometimes creates. So today, I'm walking you through exactly how I used it on a Cricut cutaway card blank and turned it into this finished birthday card. For this project, I'm using a Cricut cutaway card blank, but the technique isn't limited to Cricut cards. You could test it on any medium to heavyweight cardstock. This is just what I'm using. You'll also need cling wrap, plain Glad cling wrap, a decorative paper napkin or tissue paper, parchment paper, and a heat-resistant work surface, as well as a heat source. I love my Cricut EasyPress Mini for this. I use it on the medium setting. Now, this is an experimental crafting technique, so please work in a well-ventilated area, protect your surface, and test your particular materials on a scrap piece first. Never place the heat source directly against the exposed cling wrap. The first thing we need to do is prepare the napkin. Most decorative paper napkins have multiple layers. We only want the thin printed top layer for this project. Carefully separate the plain backing layers from the decorative layer. It can take a little patience to get them started, especially around the edges. But once they begin separating, peel the backing away slowly so you don't tear that printed layer. And this decorative layer will feel extremely thin and delicate when it's ready, but that's exactly what we want. Next, you're going to place your cardstock on a flat, heat-resistant surface. I like this blank wood scrap piece. It works great. You're going to cut a piece of cling wrap slightly larger than the area you want to cover. Giving yourself a little extra around every edge is much easier than trying to line it up perfectly at this stage. Lay the cling wrap over the cardstock blank and smooth it as flat as possible. Try to remove any major folds or bunched up areas or wrinkles, because anything trapped underneath may show through the finished napkin once adhered. Now, place the decorative side of your separated napkin face up over the cling wrap. Position the part of the pattern that you want visible on your cardstock. Once you begin applying heat, you won't have much opportunity to reposition it. Gently smooth the napkin with your hands, but don't pull or stretch it. The single decorative layer tears very easily. Now, stacking order, the layers from bottom to top should now be your cardstock, cling wrap, and decorative napkin layer. Before applying any heat, you need to cover everything completely with parchment paper or a protective sheet. This protective layer keeps the EasyPress Mini from touching the napkin or cling wrap directly. I set my EasyPress Mini to medium and allowed it to heat fully. Once ready to go, I moved it slowly over the parchment paper, keeping it in motion instead of holding it in one place for an extended time. The goal is to gently fuse the layers together without scorching the napkin, overheating or warping the cardstock, because heat tools, cardstock, and cling wrap can all behave differently. I'm not relying on one exact pressing time. I work in small sections, lift the parchment, and check the surface frequently. If part of the napkin hasn't bonded, you can replace your parchment paper and apply a little more controlled heat to that area. I pay particular attention to the edges and corners. Those are the areas most likely to need another pass. Once the entire surface looks bonded, allow it to cool before handling or trimming it. Once it's cool, you can check for any loose spots by gently running your fingers over the surface. Don't pull aggressively at the edges while everything is still warm. The excess cling wrap should just pull away. Now, you're going to trim away the excess napkin from the cardstock. A paper trimmer can give you a straight edge, but scissors or a craft knife will also work fine. Just use whichever tool gives you the most control. The finished surface should look smooth and almost printed onto the cardstock. That lack of wet glue wrinkles is what made this technique so interesting to me. I don't like the mess either. So for my card, I used Decorative cardstock with a Cricut cutaway card blank. I didn't film every assembly step here, but I arranged the pieces on camera so you can see how the finished design was layered. I added the printed floral elements, the round happy birthday pop-up sentiment, and a small bow to finish it. So here is the completed card, and I love how the soft napkin pattern became part of the cardstock instead of looking like a separate layer that was glued on top. And as for durability of this technique, this was my first test on cardstock, so I can't honestly tell you yet how it will hold up over a long period of time. For a greeting card that will receive relatively light handling, I think it's a really interesting option. But I would not assume the technique is permanently durable or washable, especially on fabric or an unsealed wood project. But I'm keeping both my cardstock and wood samples so I can check them over time and share an honest update with you later. If you try this method, remember, test it on a scrap piece first, adjust the heat accordingly to your own materials. And please, if this walkthrough helped you, like the video and subscribe to Simply Recollective for more Cricut tips, real craft experiences, and no mess, less stress project ideas. Let me know down in the comments, what surface should I test this method with next?